Good afternoon and welcome to this webinar event where we are introducing NetSkeme Hydraulic. I'm John Forster, Director of Cloud Solutions at Vest Incorporated. The goal of today's webinar session is to demonstrate those key product features available within NetSkeme, allowing you to quickly and easily create professional hydraulic schematics that you can proudly share with your colleagues, customers, and vendors. Our product specialists participating in today's webinar will collate all questions that are posted in the questions webinar control panel, which will then be discussed at the end of the webinar demonstration. We will now begin, and you should be seeing the NetSkeme Hydraulic website displayed on your screen. The NetSkeme homepage is currently shown is using Mozilla Firefox browsers. Note that the NetSkeme is also certified to run on Google Chrome browsers as well. Within the web page shown, you will see that no installation of any software is required. Also note that NetSkeme Hydraulic saves natively to Autocad DWG format, which is desirable because of its rich features and portability. Scrolling down, you'll see a summary of smart features, pricing, and frequently asked questions. A common question is, how long can I try NetSkeme for free? NetSkeme is available to use free for 30 days after registering. Note that resources have been provided to step you through the schematic drawing process. For example, a NetSkeme YouTube channel is available to walk you through the various steps in a step-by-step fashion. The DWG drawings that were used in creating these videos is available for your download as well. We'll return back to the NetSkeme homepage and we'll click the free trial button at the upper right-hand corner. That'll initiate the registration process. Note that a credit card is not needed to register for NetSkeme. After the registration process is completed, a message will be displayed to indicate that an email was sent to your account to complete the authorization process. And do remember, it's possible that it could go into your spam folder. Okay, so we'll go back to the home page. We'll click on Sign In to enter the login credentials for an existing account. After signing in to NetSkeme, the homepage appears showing basic information on user preference, account information, and a means in which feedback on product experience can also be provided. Default login shows a file open icon. However, in case of first-time login, the user is directed to the preference page to select the drawing units and also verify optimal browsing settings. The account page shows the status of the trial subscription and available plans to subscribe, and those will show in currency that's set up for the country that you're in. We are choosing to create a new drawing to begin this demonstration. The desired drawing sheet size is selected by clicking on one of the icons, which in turn will direct the user to the NetSkeme drawing canvas. A simple circuit will be created today, and we're going to send it to a prospective customer to review per the specifications they provided. In this case, a customer requested standard components like a pump, electrical motor, reservoir, filter cylinders, and directional controls. The symbol library displays by clicking the folder icon in the ribbon bar. The library design provides for drill down navigation to quickly identify this needed symbol. Click the triangle or alternately double click on the descriptor title to navigate until the symbols are displayed for selection. One method is to drag the symbols into the drawing canvas as shown. Note that each time a symbol is added to the drawing, a message Save Changes in the Drawing appears at the lower right-hand corner of the screen. And that's indicating that the current active session is being backed up on the cloud. So as we navigate, an alternative method is to double-click on a symbol, and that will display a preview once the cursor moves over the drawing canvas. And then you could click to place it in place. We'll continue to add the requested components. Also notice you could use the zoom feature by using your scroll wheel, or pan feature to click and hold and move around the viewport. Note that the library auto hides by default, so the library view can be fixed by selecting the pin button at the upper right hand. collect a few more symbols. If all or part of the manufacturer model code is known, the symbol search feature can be used. Type at least the first 4 characters of a model code, in this case directional valve, in the search window and select the Go button. NetSkeme performs a search across the catalog of over 14,000 symbols stored in the cloud, with results matching the criteria. The same process of drag and drop applies. We'll right-click on symbols to select the Edit. Add properties as symbols are inserted within the drawing. Model code, description, and manufacturing fields are available, which can be referenced when generating a parts list. We'll add properties for 3 symbols. Note that as the symbols are inserted, the item ID would increment sequentially. It's an important reference when creating parts lists. Note that edit properties are replicated when copying a symbol. So we'll go ahead and copy this symbol to a new location because we want to have 2 directional valves. Once it's selected in the position, right-clicking will show that the edit will show that the properties are shown in the symbol. After the symbols are inserted, smart connections can be performed. Note that 4 connection line icons are available within the ribbon menu: pressure, reservoir, control, and drain. After selection, a connection is initiated by hovering over the symbol until the green circle appears, indicating a qualified connection point. Then clicking. Similarly, clicking on a connection point on another symbol establishes a smart connection using intelligent routing. Note that connections for a given connection type can continue to be made until the escape key is pressed or right-clicking to select cancel. Notice that connections can be made to another connection line as shown to establish a junction. A connection also can show as a jumper to distinguish between a junction and crossing connection. Right-clicking on any connection line will allow the connection type to be changed. In this case, we intended to make this a reservoir. Creating a parts list within the drawing is a logical next step. Click the Insert Parts List icon shown on the ribbon bar to initiate the process. Note that the parts list created is not editable. We'll go ahead and do the zoom extent or pan over. You'll see that the order of the parts are in according to item ID, and that the quantity field will increase when symbol properties match, in this case, the directional valve shown. Next, the title block can be updated by double-clicking on the desired text fields. The drawing is ready to be saved to the local desktop file before sending to the customer. So all work products should be saved to a DWG file to allow for future edits. We'll click on the File Save As icon on the ribbon menu to navigate to a folder and save the drawing. Note that you can save or send a PDF or DXF file as well. This may be necessary depending on the customer's ability to view and review your work product. Pressing the Home icon on the ribbon bar will exit the drawing canvas. Pressing the back button will return to the drawing canvas, or you could hit the back button on the browser. So you could still continue to your edits, but we'll go back to the home page and we'll do a proper sign out. And this is a recommended exit from NetSkeme. We did just save the NetSkeme file, so we could say don't save, but we display this on exit just as a precaution. Now the customer reviewed the drawing and identified new requirements and also a need for some corrections to the original drawing. So we'll go log back in. The new requirement identified a need for a manifold assembly, in addition to showing a load on one of the cylinders, and then a missing relief valve needs to be added as well. So we'll do the browse and open the file we had just edited. Once the file opens, we'll go ahead and take care of the first action, which is to create a manifold envelope. So we may go to the zoom extents shown there. The envelope icon shown on the ribbon menu is selected in order to designate those symbols to be included in a manifold assembly. And do the corners to contain all the valves and components that you want included in the manifold assembly. For manifold assemblies, ports need to be established along the perimeter to accommodate new connections. So we'll select the manifold port icon within the ribbon menu, displaying a port library adjacent to the NetSkeme symbol library. Select a port, add an indicator, and drag the port symbol into position along the manifold boundary as shown. It's easier to copy a single port if you have multiple locations to do than dragging each time. So we'll execute the copy command and go ahead and copy to the new locations. Just like before, we will hit the escape key or right click to cancel when that's completed. Now, important step after that is done is we have to reroute the connections to connect to the port. So we'll show how to demonstrate how you reconnect the connection. So you'll just drag this down to the new location point. So you highlight the connector and bring that down. Okay, we just have one more connection to do. You see we're panning with using the mouse key each time we do this. So it's a fairly quick process. Next, the missing relief valve can now be added to the drawing by clicking on the NetSkeme symbol tab. In this case, instead of navigating, we're going to go ahead and use the symbol search function to find the symbol using a model code. And again, the first 4 characters. So we'll drag this into position. In some cases, the symbol orientation may need to be changed, and this is a good example. You right-click on the symbol, you'll display the needed operation to rotate or realign as needed. Now the customer also asks us to show a load, so we're going to draw a rectangle to represent the load. So we'll do this using the drawing toolbar at the right edge of the drawing canvas. Provisions are there to create lines, arcs, and circles as well. Select the rectangle icon though, and mark the boundary for the rectangle object in the drawing. So you might want to move the item ID out of the way, and that's easily done as shown. We'll go ahead and put text in this. So we'll say it's a 25-pound load. Note that the item IDs may not remain numerically sequenced as symbols are copied and or deleted. So select the item ID icon on the ribbon menu to regenerate the item IDs. The insert parts list command can be performed again to regenerate the symbols that were added or deleted. Now notice that none of the ports we added are included in the parts list. Closing the web browser demonstrates how the drawing content can be restored even if internet connectivity were interrupted. Another instance might be your computer powers off unexpectedly or you close the browser. Signing back into NetSkeme will show a message regarding the prior activity. In this case, we'll select yes to restore the contents that were automatically backed up. And you'll see that all the things we added since the last update are included in the drawing. Note that this message might also display if someone else were logged in with the exact same credentials. So if emails and passwords were shared, selecting yes would maybe cause another user who was logged in at the same time to be logged out, but you would then assume the work that they had been working on. Update the drawing revision in the title block is a good practice before saving the file and sending back to the customer for review. So we'll go ahead and save this file as a new revision as a good practice. Clicking on the My Symbol icon will open the File Explorer where NetSkeme custom symbols can be selected and added into the drawing canvas. Custom symbols would be viewed as thumbnail images within the File Explorer. Once selected, the detail of the symbol design is revealed in the Explorer preview pane. Custom symbols can be directly inserted into the drawing canvas like standard symbols. We'll discuss shortly how custom symbols can be created, but this is how they're inserted in the drawing. Continuing along in the ribbon menu, you can select the group icon to allow for multiple symbols or objects to be selected for grouping. Then they can be moved, copied. The ungroup icon function reverses that action. Selecting the title block icon offers a convenient method to resize a drawing according to ISO or ANSI standards. We're not going to change that now. Selecting the table icon provides the ability to insert a table of any dimensions into the drawing. Double-click on a cell in order to add text. It also can be stretched and moved, but we'll not go through that at this time. Selecting the Match Properties, Color, and Line Type icons will allow object properties to be changed. Selecting the My Symbol library opens the Library Manager to create custom symbols, and we will be going through this feature shortly. Clicking the question mark icon will open the NetSkeme help page within another window where various help topics can be revealed, including the ability to navigate or search for help topics. In this case, we'll navigate to the Workspace NetSkeme ribbon, which we just were looking at, and you'll notice an icon for videos. So these are narrated videos that go into much greater detail regarding each of the functions we just briefly went through. Returning to the drawing canvas, there are additional toolbars available within NetSkeme that we will cover. The Drawing Settings toolbar at the bottom left allows attributes to be selected for positioning or aligning symbols and objects within the drawing canvas. Grid mode will simply display or suppress the display of a grid. Note that the Snap to Grid icon shows on by default. This feature is useful for aligning and positioning symbols and objects. So we'll zoom in and show the relief valve. We'll click that. And as you select the drag point, which is the red square, that will then snap to the grid line as shown. You can let go and it will stay in that position. However, the symbol could also be clicked and the cursor held or the mouse button held down, and you can move the symbol with greater precision and override the snap function. in cases you'll need to. There are other drawing settings that are similar to those found in other popular CAD applications. We'll not cover these today due to time. The drawing object bar also has some features related to the viewport. Clicking the zoom in icon expands the viewport based on its center point. Conversely, clicking the zoom out icon contracts the viewport. Note that zoom functionality can also be achieved using the mouse scroll wheel, but instead acts on where the cursor is positioned within the viewport. The pan feature also allows for moving to a new area within the drawing canvas. As mentioned though, a quicker method to pan is holding the scroll wheel on the mouse to shift the view area as shown. So we'll go ahead and look to create a custom symbol, selecting the My Custom Symbol at the top of the ribbon. We'll open the Manage My Library mode. In this case, it looks very similar to the NetSkeme drawing canvas. We're going to create a symbol based off a default symbol instead of starting from scratch. So we'll take a directional control, for example, and we'll bring that, just as we had in the other canvas, into the right-hand portion to go ahead and edit. In this case, we're going to go ahead and delete some of the flow patterns. This is not available in the other canvas. In this case, we're going to go to the ISO building blocks and we're going to install a completely different flow path. So we'll scroll down to where flow paths are available and we'll select one. And we'll go ahead and drag it into place as shown. So at this point, we'll want to save this. So we'll demonstrate that, clicking the save symbol in the toolbar. And it'll save this as a PNG file because that will allow us to be able to see the symbol in the Library Explorer as a PNG file. It actually contains DWG information. So we now have that available to us. We're going to go ahead and escape out of this mode. And we've already saved that, so we don't need to save it again. There's many more features in there, and I direct you to the help to get more detail. At this point, we want to demonstrate bringing a NetSkeme file into Autocad. So we'll pull up Autocad. We'll open a drawing that we had just saved in that last session. You'll notice that the exact same viewport comes up. All the information translates 100%. Autocad layering capability, and you'll notice when that's selected, there's detail on all the layers. This concludes the demonstration portion of the webinar. We will now review questions that have been posted. If you've not done so, please feel free to submit your questions using the webinar control panel. We will respond to all questions either within this webinar or follow up with a reply in an email. So we'll go ahead and process questions that might be asked. Okay, one question has come up. When I move symbols, do connectors reroute or do I need to reroute manually? So we'll go ahead and zoom into the drawing that you show here. We'll go down to that relief valve again. So you might have noticed when we moved that earlier, the symbols did reroute, but we can manually override that and improve the positioning of it. So you either move the symbol, but in some cases you may want to move the actual routes. So you hit the grab points on the connector and that will allow you to select that. Now, when you do move a symbol, the routing sometimes doesn't want to go the way that you desired. So again, this is a method and we're always looking at ways to improve routing performance. So that's a great question. Let's see if we have some more coming in. Does NetSkeme support sectional valves? So there are sectional valves that are shown in various spots in NetSkeme. The ability to create custom symbols is probably vital for that. We are looking at a capability to do intelligent sectional valve builds, and that's being considered for a possible future release. Can I change the drawing background color? So that's not available at this time, but it's being considered for a future release. There are a number of features that are still going to be coming out now that NetSkeme has been released. Those will be announced in either emails. There's going to be provisions for an online release announcement system that will allow when you log in, you'll see features that have come in since the last time you logged in. Can I run NetSkeme on Edge browser or Safari? Microsoft actually has retired Edge, even though it might still be in your Windows 10. They've come out with a new Chromium browser, and we are validating that to be used in NetSkeme. If you did go into Edge and try to log into NetSkeme, it would tell you it's not a supported browser. Certification on Safari is underway. It's like we don't have any other questions coming in. Well, that concludes this webinar event. Thank you for attending today's session. We appreciate that your time is precious, and we hope that you found the features and capabilities of NetSkeme to be compelling, certainly enough to register for your free 30-day trial if you've not already done so. A video replay of this session will be available shortly for viewing. Contact us at netskeme.com. Thank you and have a pleasant rest of your day.